All right, just hitting record and going here on day 2 of studying for the CrossFit Level 3. And I just thought I would start this just in case you're tuning into this and you don't know me that well, or if you're not a part of our gym, and just tell you why I do CrossFit and coach CrossFit and why I'm continuing my education around CrossFit. So why do I do CrossFit? I just want to be the healthiest version of myself. I know that sounds cheesy, but just my personality, I like to optimize things. I like to dig deep. I don't like to waste time or efficiency on things. And just in my early 20s, I was not an athlete. I was not a fitness person or an athlete growing up. I was a music nerd. I still am, band nerd. And in my 20s, I was playing in a band, touring, and just my health was not good. Just looking in the mirror, could just tell I didn't feel great. So I started doing little things like, we would eat out a lot on the road, and instead of getting fries, like I would get the steamed vegetables, or instead of a burger, I would get the chili from Wendy's, a little bit slightly better option. And I stopped drinking soda, and so I just started to see the results of that. I started to feel better, look better, have more energy. Even, I played in a rock band, and it sounds silly, but, you move around on stage and you get out of breath, you do. And I've noticed that getting better, having more endurance and energy for performance in that way. And so it just started going down that rabbit trail of, okay, what else can I do to be healthier and fitter? Because I like how this makes me feel. I like how it enables me to perform better in my career, and for my family, for my wife at the time, CJ. It's still my wife, but at the time I didn't have kids. That's what I meant. Be better and healthier for her. And so started getting into just like running. I did like a couch to 5K because I had never really run before. I started getting into some kettlebells kind of stuff. I started working out with a group class boot camp trainer here in Franklin, Tennessee, and learned a lot from him. Just a lot of kettlebell stuff, and some dumbbells, some plyometrics, just things like that. And anyway, eventually my brother Tony got into CrossFit because he was training for some military stuff. And I remember him saying to me one day, if you did CrossFit, you would be a beast. And I was like, oh, I want to be a beast. And that just like lit a fire in me of like, okay, well, if there's like this next level, I want to find out what that's all about. And signed up for a CrossFit gym, CrossFit Render here in Spring Hill. Shout out to Sean and Kylie Hitchcock. They got me started on my journey, and great people, great gym, great community. And it's kind of all history from there. Just really got into it, really fell in love with it. Like I said, I like to optimize. So I just quickly discovered CrossFit's meant to be like, if you're going to do one thing and you only have 60 minutes a day to train, you don't have hours and hours to spend in the gym, you don't have unlimited money to spend on, all these different supplements. Not that, well, I'm not going to get into that, but anyway, if you only have 60 minutes a day to spend in the gym, CrossFit is essentially going to get you the most bang for your buck. It's the minimum effective dose to make you as healthy and fit as possible for anything life throws at you. And that part of it really appealed to me. And the deeper I have dug into it, the more and more logically sound I discovered it to be, as far as the methodology. And that has always really appealed to me, that it just makes sense. And it's about optimizing your physical capacity, and that means the ability to do the other things in your life that are important to you. So that's why I'm into it. And the reason why I coach is because I want to help other people do the same. For me, I love Jesus. I believe that God created all of us to be a blessing to others, to be fruitful and multiply, which I think just means to be able to serve Him and serve others. And our physical capacity is a huge part of that. He created us with bodies. He created us with work to do, to keep the ground, and to which is just in Genesis, talks about the garden and keeping the garden and expanding the garden. So there's this physical aspect to who we are and who God's created us to be. And it's just as simple as there's a letter in the New Testament that there's a guy named Paul who was one of the early, he was actually he was opposed to the gospel, opposed to the church, became a believer in Jesus, had an encounter with Jesus, and then started leading the church. He was what we call an apostle, and he was writing a letter to one of the other leaders who he was training up. And this guy Timothy had some sort of physical weakness. We don't know what it was, but he said, hey, Timothy, he's talking to him about leading, about serving God, serving others, telling people about Jesus, about the gospel. And he says, hey, you need to make sure that you take some wine for your stomachs because you have these frequent ailments. And it's a simple kind of thing, passing thing, but it's just, he's basically saying like, hey, you need to make sure that you're physically ready to do the things that God has called you to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was the car rider people. Yeah, he's like, hey, it's important that you're physically capable of doing the things God has called you to do. And it frustrates me. It makes me sad that, and I was in this boat, that our health and our physical capacity, we have a lot more control over it than we would like to admit. But our environment, our culture, our, the food and beverage industry who are selling you things to make money, not to make you healthy. So therefore, the more you overeat, the more money they make. So our whole environment is designed to keep us kind of sedentary and unhealthy. Again, I'm not gonna get into it now, but the medical and pharmaceutical industries, and there's lots of good things there, but a lot of it is they make profit off of us being sick. So they're not incentivized. It's not necessarily any one person like conspiracy. It's just they're just not incentivized to actually help us be healthy, keep us healthy. Anyway, so because of all that, it's people are very unhealthy in general, and it doesn't have to be that way because it's within our control. It's simple, but it's not easy. So if I can help people who are willing to take ownership of that and step up and say, hey, I'm willing to do the hard things it takes to make some changes in my life and be the healthiest version of myself so that I can serve my family, whatever my career is, my community, ultimately to serve God. You don't have to believe the same things I do to be a member at CrossFit Spring Hill or for me to help you. I want to help everybody, but that's why I do it. So anyway, just wanted to share that. So that's why I coach CrossFit, and I'm taking the level 3, studying for the level 3. The level 1 and the level 2 are in-person seminars. You go to a gym, and it's a combination of lectures on CrossFit methodology and fitness and health, and breakouts, where the level 1, the breakouts they're teaching you foundational movements, and it's more about your own movement and understanding points of performance, and you learn a little bit about coaching, but it's more about your own fitness and health journey and learning the CrossFit kernel that you kind of build everything else off of as a coach and as an athlete. That's why I recommend everyone does it. The level 2 is same thing. It's lectures and breakouts, but the breakouts are more about coaching, becoming a better coach. So how do I take these movements and methodology and effectively teach it to others? The CrossFit level 3 is just having a very deep understanding of the CrossFit methodology, which what I said earlier is that it's a lot deeper than it appears on the surface. It's not about being good at CrossFit. It's about being healthy for life. And there's a lot of underlying logic and science and things. So the level 3 is testing your knowledge and your ability to apply that as well. And it's just a test. It's a 4-hour test. I haven't done it, obviously, but people say, well, what do you get for doing that? Just, okay, great, you're level 3. But from people I've talked to who have done it, and just as I've prepared for it, it's not so much that you take level 3 and magically you're a better coach. It's the pursuit of growth and knowledge that makes you better. So it's just like anything else. The more, if you believe something can help you and help others, the more you know about it and the more you can apply that to helping yourself and others, the better you are. And I would question coaches, gym owners who have their level 1, or I think for a gym owner, you have to have your level 2 now, but, and they're like, I'm just going to keep getting my level 1. Why would I get my level 2? Or I'll just go back and get my level 2. Why would I get my level 3? I would just question, like, why wouldn't you want to be better? Why wouldn't you want to learn more about this thing that you say you believe in? So that's why I do it. And I didn't really get into, anything from the manual today. Maybe next week. I think I'm going to have to move my car here in a minute. But CrossFit, to review from last week, it's our specialty is not specializing, so that's building really well-rounded fitness for life. We're not trying to just be a good runner, because if you really want to pursue being a good runner, by default you're gonna sacrifice strength and other skills, and vice versa. If you just want to be a power lifter, you guys have probably all seen like the guy who has the 400-pound bench press, but if you ask him to run a mile, he's gonna start walking after 100 meters. We want to be able to outrun the weightlifter and outlift the runner, is a short way of saying that. CrossFit is constantly varied, high intensity functional movement. So it's different every day because life is different every day, and life throws constantly varied demands at us that we need to be prepared for. High intensity because growth requires discomfort, and it just means hard effort. There is a mathematical equation behind it. There's some science behind it, but high intensity. It doesn't have to be max intensity, but if you want to grow, you have to get uncomfortable. There's no way around that. And functional movement just means the way your body is designed to move. In everyday life, you're going to use multi-joints. You're going to universal motor recruitment patterns, which is, if I ask you to sit down in a chair and stand up, or pick something up off the ground, if I ask you to pick something up off the ground, it's going to look like a deadlift, because that's what a deadlift is. And if I ask you to do it with a barbell or with a pencil you drop on the ground, it's essentially going to look the same. So that's just some of the review stuff from last week. I guess I'll get into more next week. That's why I do CrossFit. That's why I coach CrossFit. That's why I'm taking my level 3. And if you want to keep following along with me on this journey, you'll see how deep it goes, and I'll keep trying to apply it to everyday life too, because that's really a lot of what the level 3 is how do I apply this to my coaching and helping others. So, all right, bye.